Welcome back. This is part 2 of 3 video recordings on the opening post for week 2 on ontology. I want to introduce some ideas from Haraway, Donna Haraway, 1988. The article is up in group 1. Primarily the concept of standpoint as well as situated knowledge. Our understanding of anything, is always contingent. It's always based on, related to an ontological, epistemological, or ethical standpoint, or all three. So Haraway's article is a landmark essay. Her work is an articulation of a feminist perspective in objectivity that has clearly influenced the social sciences far beyond strictly feminist studies. So here goes. I'll try to tell you a little bit about her ideas, but there's a lot more in that article than this. Conventional objectivity in science is about what Haraway calls the God trick. She was being outrageous in her time and provocative. She calls the God trick the surveillance and domination of all, everyone, from a position of nowhere. The idea that scientific objectivity has no standpoint. It is pure knowledge. No subjectivity involved at all. Haraway's point is that knowledge always comes from a standpoint. Haraway argues that since there is no unmediated seeing and knowing, that is, seeing and knowing without some human involvement, well, not that we know of, or could know of, since there's no unmediated seeing and knowing, the positions from which one sees and knows, my position, is always a component of the meaning of that seeing and knowing. There is no absolute objectivity. There is always a subject that knows. The knower, the known, and the act of knowing. I just added that in. It's a little bit of fundamental Buddhist philosophy, but it speaks to ideas about the nature of existence that match up with Haraway. Denying that there was always a standpoint. There's always a standpoint from which seeing and knowing is taken. And denying this is a form of denial of the position of others, of a other. It's a form of domination of one's own position over other, and a finalizing or silencing of other. Finalizing is a term used particularly in narrative theory, meaning that you kind of write the final word about the person, such as schizophrenia can be a finalizing narrative. This is who you are. This is who you will be. This is how everyone will see you. Haraway makes the argument that all knowledge is situated knowledge, meaning knowledge is related to its context. All knowledge comes from a position or a standpoint. Positivist science constructs knowledge within a community of science with shared scientists with shared assumptions about the world. sharing, collaborating, and building knowledge in order to declare and control truth. I remember hearing a physician talking on the radio saying, this is scientific fact. It's just true. Feminist science builds processes for understanding and supporting local or situated knowledges, especially the knowledges of marginalized groups. Feminist objectivity allows for the messiness of differing positions interacting with each other. Feminist objectivity allows for the interaction of standpoints, the acknowledgement and interaction of standpoints. Rather than viewing from the God trick of a disembodied nowhere, feminist science does not deny its standpoint or the standpoint of others. Acknowledgement of standpoint is necessary to what she calls objective seeing and knowing. She calls it partial objectivity. I'm just checking if that's partial perspective. I'm sorry, I misremembered that. I'll just back up a little bit because I lost my place. Acknowledgement of standpoint is necessary to objective seeing and knowing. By objective, what Haraway means is closer to the truth within a particular context. Objectivity is a better way of knowing. It's the closest to the truth that one can find. Considering standpoint means that the object of knowledge, person with mental illness for instance, has a valid standpoint necessary for objective seeing and knowing about their illness. All this is not to say that the scientific method or quantitative research is not valuable. But Haraway points out that false claims to objectivity in science are used to privilege some standpoints over others. The concept of situated knowledge and standpoint are critical to the rationale for phenomenological research, particularly the current trend in research of lived experience. Haraway's work is critical to the development and acceptance of the recovery paradigm in mental health. That is the end of part 2 of 3 parts on the opening post to week 2.